Hello, peace and greetings. I am Bella, and this is the new True Crime Reading channel. Email's there in case you want to send me any reading requests, and so is the Cash App at Readings by Bella for the energy and the time I take to put into these cases. We want to get the information out there. We want to keep the conversation going with these folks. So please do donate. Please do send request and share the videos, like them, and subscribe. Also, check the description area because there may be like news clippings or anything that I needed to add, or the pinned comments. Thank you. Take care, guys. Hi, everybody. We're taking another look again at Gary Jones, his case. I felt his energy quite strongly around me yesterday, and I was actually feeling, not that the card said this, but I was feeling that he might be found today, and I was wondering if somehow part of this elaborate scheme that he would have been placed back in the lake after whatever was done to him was done to him to make it look like he drowned. But in this reading, there's some more information. It's all alleged, of course. You know, I can't prove that it's true, but all these cards are related. Many of them are repeats, as you can see. This was, I was being tortured. Perpetrator has a rural property that I was harmed at, or I'm currently being held at. And then that was reconfirmed with a rural deep forest, 3 to 6 people involved, the leader. Now, of course, we got the cops that showed up again, but strangled, suffocated. Then, so let's go back over here. Drowned, fed to sharks, tattoo, white suicide. I think, and gang related, I think whoever did this passed him off to somebody that could get rid of his remains, and I think he was dumped. You know, I think that's clearly like what the cards are saying, is that he was dumped. He could have been shot beforehand to draw blood. For those that don't know, you know, sharks can smell blood in the water, so this could have been like an elaborate way to help get rid of his remains. Tattooed white suicide. I think suicide was the name of the perpetrator. The individual was white. They had a lot of tattoos. Gang member. Somebody that, you know, gets a fixer. Somebody that gets rid of. Again, I was murdered in one place, transported to another. Injected with something to control me, just missing the ocean. Now remember, guys, I got the Florida Panhandle. On the other reading, I also got sand and something indicating a beach sand, something on the last one. So it could be possible that they took him down to Florida and decided to dump him there in the water. Sadly, I faked my death. Again, I talked about this before, that this could have been him pretending to have been dead, you know, pretending to have died, just to, I don't know, maybe try to escape, or just to try to deceive them, or somehow, you know, and then later died. It was premeditated. The victim knows them, have or had bad intentions for me. They were misled, lied to, or are escalating the situation purposely. And I believe, again, that the boss, his leader, I think this is related to the job. I think this is somebody at the job. And so I thought about this yesterday too. Like, what if the student came to Gary, right? Or Gary saw something, questioned the student, and maybe the student didn't say exactly who it was. Gary then, because as a teacher, Gary is a mandated reporter. If the victim is not identifying exactly who the person is that's hurting them, he can report it, but he doesn't know who it is. What if he had a discussion with his supervisor saying the student came to me and said this, and the person he reported it to, his supervisor, was the one that was engaged in this abusive situation with the girl that he could have met on the internet or a dating site. And then the supervisor, not knowing exactly what Gary knew, set this up. Now, the supervisor was his friend. You tell your friend your plans. Oh, I'm going up here for my birthday. I got this nice thing planned for my birthday. This is where we're going to be. You're telling your friend, somebody that you're not suspecting could be setting up, your demise, right? So if the supervisor is like, oh shit, she's talking, but I don't know how much Gary knows, or maybe it's just a matter of time before she tells somebody else and she names me, what the hell am I going to do? So then he starts whispering in the family's ear, right? Now, I don't know if he knew the family, like Gary knew the family of the victim, but what if he starts, this boss person, the perpetrator, starts whispering in the family member's ear, or the family saying, whatever, and then starts skewing or stewing this situation, right? Making it look like, oh, Gary's, because as far as the perp knows, she didn't name him, but she spoke, and that was bad enough, right? Okay. So that could be it too, a lot of possibilities here, but what's consistent in this reading, and he's given me more details, like every deck that I do, he's giving me more details. The last one, he spoke about the family. This time, he's talking about what could have actually happened to him. Drowned, fed to sharks, dumped in the ocean, and then I got the ocean card to double down on that. I did a spread before I taped this one. Before I'm taping this one, suicide white tattoos came up again then, so did gang related, which leads me to believe that, again, whoever tortured him, right, when they were finished beating him and doing everything that they did to him, they passed him off, probably paid somebody else to discard of his remains, and so that's where the Panhandle, Florida card comes up. Again, we have unfaithful. He's given us an idea of where he was held, where they did this to him. Again, cop, sheriff involved in my disappearance. Could one of the family members have been law enforcement? Could local law enforcement turn the other cheek? Who knows? Okay, so let's go over here. So Deep South, right? And then Deep South again. 6 or more. Was killed due to mistaken identity. Again, I'm with family. Near or close to daughter. Unfaithful. Sexual activity. Was a sexual partner. Had sex previously. Definitely no. I was baited. Car trunk. Son. Met on internet dating site or social media. We don't know who that was. If it was how the boss and the victim met, we don't know. Could be anyway at this point. Yeah, so this is what we're seeing now, but I got a feeling what I got to in a previous reading, the one before this one that I'm actually filming, it said new evidence too, so it said new evidence. Alright, so let's see if there's anything else to see from here. I'll do one more spread. Okay, so we are back with a second spread. A couple of things came to me. Well, we got truck driver based out of At Home, New Jersey. Could this truck driver have been the person with the tattoos? I fought for my life, defended myself. I was transported on a private boat, hidden on a private boat. if he was dumped in the ocean. Again, I was tortured, age-based, black. Not really sure of what that means other than the victim was targeted. If the victim was a young black lady, or a young black, female, she was targeted based on her age, which would mean the perpetrator is like some sort of, if she's under 18, she's considered a pedophile. That's peds, for those of you who are in the medical industry. If you're under 18, it's peds. So I would call him a pedophile. I think there's some other type of term for post, what do they call it? Post sexual maturity, but you're still under 18. So anyway, age-based, black, again, sexual activity, that scene was staged, teenager, overdose. Okay, so, did the teenager try to commit suicide? Drug overdose. And then that was like, could that have also have been like an alarm to the family? Did the student try to commit suicide, then came back to school, teacher's like, hey, how you doing, what's going on? I don't know. And then the student discloses, I don't know. But the card is there, so you guys can also draw your own conclusions. Did Gary have a sister that had an issue with the police? Stop, traffic stop, car accident, hit and run. Hit and run is like a target, like you're being targeted for something. So that could be a literal hit and run, you hit my car and then took off, or it could be, like a hit, like I'm targeting you. So that's new. He says it will be solved. This case will be solved. I was threatened. I was wronged by friend. Foul play. I come to my family and friends in dreams. If you are a family and friends and you're watching and he hasn't come to you yet, he will. Maybe he's trying to get through. I have people in my family that I've been begging for years, and they come when they want to. Or maybe it just takes, maybe it just takes time. But my best friend who I lost, my brother still hasn't come to me since the first time he came to me. And he told me years ago he was going to come to me, but he didn't yet. So that's what he's saying. I come to my family and friends in dreams. Sending love with my child or children, uncle and aunt. Remember, guys, I mentioned that I got an uncle and aunt card, and I also got like a son card and a brother card. I don't know if he has children. If he had a child, are they still here? Are they deceased? In the previous spread, it said daughter, I'm with my child. No, something else. But, so I'm wondering if he had a child that's no longer with us, or if he does have a child and he's just around them now, like he's around his family here and he's with his family, he's with his ancestors as well. So that can be interpreted that way. But the energy that I'm getting from him is, it's optimistic, it's positive, but, as the story unfolds to the cards, it's very tragic. Like, just imagine, you've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. You plan a getaway with your woman. You're psyched about it. She's psyched about it. You're staying at a nice place. Oh, which reminds me. Okay, but let me get past this point. And you're just accosted. You're accosted, and like this horrible thing happens. Like, this is just so tragic. It's more tragic than I'm able to express. Like, just imagine. You take your sweetheart somewhere, it's going to be an awesome weekend, you've got these plans, and then people run up on you, and then all of a sudden your woman is like harmed, and then like you're taken captive and you're tortured, and then ultimately like harmed in the worst way, like one of the worst ways. Okay, so remember yesterday I was asking I was wondering, like, what was his mistake? He said, I made a mistake. And remember, we had the gas mall card or whatever. And I'm thinking that that card should have been motel, right? So I understand that when they got to the hotel or the lodge, they checked in, and then they got their boat out there, right? And then they came back or something, and then they went back out to the boat, like to get the boat together, to do what they were going to do. I think that's what he's saying was the mistake. The gas station card should have been motel. Motel, I made a mistake. I think the mistake was that they left. That they put the boat out there and they left immediately to go out to do their excursion on the because it was a creek. It wasn't the lake. The creek runs into the lake. Right? The creek runs into the lake, so it wasn't the actual lake. It was like a creek. Right? Which would explain why the boat was small, or, you know, why they felt like that size boat was appropriate. Because I felt like the boat was like a little too small for such a vast space of water, for such a large body of water. Like it's just too small for two people. But I'm wondering if that was a mistake. The mistake is, well, once we checked in, we should have kind of just stayed in, because whoever they ran into, whoever followed them there, whoever was waiting for them, got to them when they were dealing with their boat. That's the mistake. I made a mistake. So we switch out that gas card with instead put in like motel or lodge instead of the gas station card or the mall card. Because remember, guys, like I have to make cards to help them explain clearly what the situation is. When you're starting off and you're making your own cards, you're going to find that your cards are going to have to take 4 or 5, 6 different meanings, because to have the most descriptive deck, you're going to have probably 100 cards, if not more. So the point is that it was a transitional space, and you know, the mistake was made because they left. So had they stayed in the lodge, you know, instead of getting right to the boat, dropping the boat and getting the boat ready, had they just stayed in, they could have avoided being this confrontation. And I think that too, because remember, like in the other video, it said stun gun, right? I think Miss Joycelyn was stunned I think she was hit with a stun gun, and she went into cardiac arrest. Something happened, and I think that's why, because she might have had her phone in her hand once people walked up on it. You know, maybe she felt like, well, I, had her phone in her hand. But I think that if someone would have used a stun gun on her, then I think that's why she would have still had her phone in her hand, like clenching it. You know, if you've ever been zapped, it makes your whole body tense up. You know, if your body's tensing up and you got a phone in your hand and that phone is like, your muscles are tense, you're not going to let the phone go. If she fell out of the boat, why would her phone be in her hand? Your instinct would be to try to swim, to flail your hands open to keep your head above water. Well, we already know she didn't drown because she had oxygen in her lungs, enough to keep her floating. So she didn't drown. What happened to her happened on land is my opinion. Okay, my opinion only. And I think that they used a stun gun. It came out in the other deck. She was stunned. It paralyzed her or made her spasm up. And they put her in the water to make it look like, she drowned, or to get rid of DNA. They will put bodies in water so that, the water will wash away any type of DNA. You know what I mean, too? So that's the other thing. But the fact that her phone was in her hand and there was air in her lungs is telling, is very telling. This is definitely foul play. All right, guys, so this is it for this spread. I'm just going to keep an eye out and you know, see what I can see. I'm also going to start getting into other readings with other cases. There's another case that happened in Lake Oconee back in 2014. Somebody asked me to look into it, and I did a partial reading on that. So I'm going to go back to that, and we're going to let this ride for a little bit. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.